Well, thank you for joining me for your planning conference.
Yes.
Can you talk to me about your lesson as it relates to the standards that I will be seeing for your lesson?
Sure. So this is the beginning of our unit. We just started Module E, so we're doing just starting the process. So they just got their scale, and I'm trying something different this time. So we're doing a learning board, and that scale is there also. So that's pretty unfamiliar for the students at this point, but they're really working towards it and doing a nice job with that. The standard is that using illustrations and details in a text, that students will be able to describe the character, the setting, or events. So we are going to focus on just the character part on this particular day. So I've already assessed them a little bit to see where they were. Most of them could identify the characters in their book. Now they're just looking at describing those characters. So that's what we'll be looking at. We're going to read aloud, and they'll be adding to their descriptions. We've already done part of the book already.
Okay. So talk to me about the kids that may need some adaptations to your lesson.
Yep.
What is that going to look like?
Sure, I have those. So I've got one child in particular who you will notice stays pretty close to me. He will always be with a teacher. So he will either be with me or the co-teacher at all given times. He stays close, first of all, because of behavior, kind of tends to get a little squirrely. So he'll be there for that reason, and then also for the turn and talk piece. We always need to kind of guide him for the safety of the children and whatnot. When we break off into our partner work, he will work with the co-teacher, Ms. Diaz, as well as my ESC/ESOL child. So both of those will be getting that one-on-one help from the adult. And then for the ESOL child, Isaac will be really working on those gestures and the things that will help him. We'll be doing a lot of show me how your character's feeling, and they'll all be using their facial expressions and things to show that. So that really helps him with that piece.
So you talked to me about the standard that you were using and the learning board. Can you talk to me about what the student product is, how is it going to be aligned to the taxonomy?
Sure. So this is a comprehension description, describing the character as a comprehension on the taxonomy. So the task will be for them to listen to the read aloud, and they're going to be forming new judgments. So in this case, the character changes. He's been pretty jealous and cranky and all of those things. And now they're going to see a character change. And so they'll be watching for that. So first, they're just going to be writing a list of descriptions about their character, Peter, anything they see that's different. And I'm going to be letting them do that on their own, because the first part, I guided them and we did it together. And then I also asked them last time to make a claim about their character. Did they want to be his friend? Did they like him at this part? And so now I'm going to be asking them to revise their thinking on that, which is my deliberate practice, was revising thinking. So they've really got to think about what they said. And then now, since the character made a change, they'll be doing a little written piece that will tell me what they think about their character now.
Okay. So revising their knowledge, that seems like that could be a challenge. So what instructional strategies are you going to implement to help those students, I know it's first grade, help them to revise their knowledge?
So we spoke a lot about our character and how we felt about him. So I chose one that they would really have a strong feeling about. So he's like being sneaky and he's being selfish, and they are not liking their character at all because he's not showed any nice qualities yet. So the kids have really formulated a really strong opinion about him. But what they're going to find out at the second half of the book is he's not really those things. He changes his way. He ends up sharing his things with his baby sister. And so I feel like this is a content that they can revise their knowledge on, because the character does such a huge change that I think most of that. Now, my couple that will be with Miss Diaz, the co-teacher, will need to definitely be guided a little bit more. Probably both of them will do more oral than written, because that's what's needed for them.
That was my next question. What product are you going to have at the end of the lesson to indicate that they met the target, they understand?
Right. So the first thing will be just when they're writing, when I give them a time to stop and jot, I'll just do a run through and make sure everybody's jotted a piece. Again, those couple of ones will probably tell me versus writing. So I'll be listening to them. I'll be listening to their turning and talking and knowing where they fit in. And then at the end, I'll be collecting journals to really read their thinking. So I'll read their initial piece, although I've already reviewed them. I'll read their initial piece and then see if they've revised their thinking and go through and look at that. So all those journals will be collected and looked at.
Are there any other strategies, instructional strategies, as it relates to our growth model that you would like for me to look for, that you plan for?
I think you'll see the culture in the classroom. That's, you know me well, so you know that's the biggie for me, is always just creating that peace in my classroom. My kids feel safe. They're nice to each other. They know their processes. The behavior system is big in my room, so you will see them maybe getting up and get down if I've clipped them up or down. Right. They'll do that seamlessly. I let them do that because I want them to tell me when they're ready to learn again. So there shouldn't be that. It won't be a distraction, but they will be getting up and down if there's any times I have to focus them in. So I think just the culture piece, I always like you to look at my processes, because that's a strong point, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to coming back to your classroom. I'm very excited about the learning board, because I know that's something that you've been working on. So
the other piece we've added that I forgot to tell you earlier was on our scale. You're going to see it's going to look a little different also. The scale has performance tasks aligned. It's also something new I'm trying. So it will tell them. So for example, when I tested them earlier, was it to identify the character? They just did a character jot on a sticky note. I collected those, and then I met with them in small group and said, here's what, you have these pieces. And so then you can go ahead and date that target on your goal, so that on your scale. So that'll show them how they are progressing up the scale. I'm hoping that's going to be beneficial for them.
Okay, so it's going to show them as a whole class of how they're progressing.
They have their individual ones. Yep, they have their individual ones. My skill won't be up at this point because we'll be using the learning board, and we're really directing them on the learning board right now because that matches the scale. But they each have their own individual scale, where when we are introducing it, they underline, and then they'll usually put little check marks, or they'll date if they've met that target. And that's just feedback with me. And sometimes they know even before. Like the last time I said, if you said these 4 characters, you can date yourself now. And the kids knew that they did, and lots of them left it blank because they knew they missed a few pieces. Perfect. So those are interactive scales they're working with.
Anything else you would like to share about your lesson?
Nope, I'm excited for you to see it. They're a good group of kids.
All right.
Okay.